Okay, tonight we're looking at how to check a used turbo. If you've bought a turbo off eBay, off a scrapyard, you need to check that what you're actually going to fit is okay and is not going to cause you problems further down the line. We've got to start off initially by just looking all over the whole unit. You want to look for broken studs that you're going to need to get out. You want to look for cracks. You're going to want to look for any sort of signs of well, really tampering and things like that. You know, mostly all these bolts should be tight. You should be able to see where they've sealed it in here. No evidence of any oil leaks, that's not one. Any evidence of any oil leaks, things like that. You want to be checking to make sure that the oil return pipe, which is the bigger one of the two, usually on the bottom, isn't full of some nasty gunk. That it's full of just, this one has got black oil in, but it's not full of chunks of carbon and muck like that, which will show that the engine's been run badly and not serviced. You want to be looking for excessive amounts of black oily residue in here. If there is, you're probably going to have to at minimum clean out the turbine. You're looking at the wastegate here to make sure, notice the crack here. You're going to look at the wastegate here to make sure that the little flap hasn't got huge chips in it, to make sure it's sitting nice and firmly down, and making sure that it's pressed close up against. Again, you know, you want to make sure that all the linkages are okay, things like that. Okay, and then going further into it, you need to actually check the turbine itself. Now, you want to make sure there's no chips or marks or sort of well, really any wear on the blades themselves, both ends. You want to be making sure that the intake spool has got its little nut still on it properly. Don't try doing it up, but it's there. You want to make sure it spins nice and freely, like that. Hang on. There you go, spins nice and freely, it's not stiff. So yeah, chips, cuts and things like that in there. And then we need to be looking then at, let's try and get this in a decent position. You want to be looking at the shaft itself. So, now you want to be gentle because you don't want to knacker it, but what you want to do is just press gently down and just see if you've got any movement. And you see there's a bit of movement in that one. See, like that? Now, some movement is actually okay. It's not ideal. You want to just you'd want to just get almost no movement, but some movement's okay. And in fact, this came from a perfectly decent running car. You wouldn't know there was any problems with this turbo, not even that crack actually. Just when the engine was changed, it was seen. But you can see how it spins over quite nice and easy, no problem. No noises. And you want to check then down here. You want to see whether the impeller, or the compressor in this case, impeller, sorry. Has been touching the side, so if there's any scratch marks, because this blade wants to be as close to the side as possible. And what you can do is if you just lift and just see whether it'll scratch. So if you just move it just gently to its furthest position, it'll go. Oh, and look at that, you can hear that just touches the side. So that the bearings there, they're okay at the moment, but this turbo wouldn't last all that long without a new set of bearings. Don't be frightened about changing the bearings on these. It's quite often, I'm not going to show you how to do that, but it's quite often not that difficult. And then you'll see in this side, I don't know if you can see, but you see the tiny little bit of scoring down there where, this is the compressor side, where the compressor has just started to touch the very edge of the aluminium housing. Now this turbo, you'd never know, there was no issues with it, you wouldn't have known there was an issue. But if you were buying a used turbo, you wouldn't want one that looked like this. Other than that, there's not really a great deal to it. End play, of course, as well is one last thing, which is to look at whether you can pull the spindle, the actual shaft, towards you, forwards and backwards. So whether it moves in and out, this sort of thing on, so it moves that way in the shaft. You're looking here at whether it goes, the bearings themselves have got a problem. Then you're looking that way as well to see whether the thrust bearings are knackered. Other than that, no, there's not a great deal. It's easy to get a Duff turbo because you can get it off a good car like this one and not know that there's a problem with it. There we are, guys. I hope that helps.